So tempo can be a little bit tricky to grasp at first. Tempo is used to control the rhythm of a movement and then later determine the time under tension. There are three components to consider when constructing a tempo. The first is the concentric speed, the second is the eccentric speed, and the third is any isometric pauses. So, how do you prescribe tempo? This is where people start to get a little confused. So, just take your time and review the material if necessary. Tempo is expressed in a 3 or 4 digit arrangement. You'll see on the right a 3-digit arrangement with a concentric portion, a pause, and an eccentric portion. And then you'll see a 4-digit arrangement below it with a concentric movement, a pause, an eccentric movement, and then a pause. Here's an example of a 3-digit tempo. Let's use a lat pull down for an example. It's written as a 1-second concentric, which means I will pull the weight down, shortening my lats in 1 second. It has a 0-second hold, so I won't hold the weight at that position, with a 3-second eccentric, meaning I will let the weight raise and release my lats over a 3-second period. On the right, you will see the sum of the tempo, which yields the repetition duration, which for this example is 4 seconds total per repetition. Here is an example of a 4-digit tempo. We will stick with the lat pull down example. It's written as a 1-second concentric, so I pull the weight down, shortening my lats over 1 second, a 0-second hold, so I don't hold the weight at that position, a 3-second eccentric, so I release my lats, lowering the weight over 3 seconds, with a 1-second pause at the lengthened position at the end of the range of motion. On the right, you will see the sum of the tempo, which yields the repetition duration, which for this example is 5 seconds. Here is another example of a 4-digit tempo. It's written as a X concentric, 1-second pause, 4-second eccentric with a 0-second pause. The X denotes the intent for maximum speed or velocity when performing that action. So with this action, when I go to contract the weight, let's say the lat pull down, I would pull it with maximum speed and velocity in mind. So for this one, on average, an X, if you were trying to calculate the repetition duration, you would just assume it was roughly 1 second. So for this one, it would be roughly 6 seconds for the rep duration. Now, there are multiple ways you can use tempo to influence hypertrophy. The first is by utilizing the eccentric portion with a slower tempo. By placing emphasis on the eccentric phase, you're maximizing all 3 mechanisms of hypertrophy. Another option is using isometric pauses at the fully shortened range and really focusing on building the mind-muscle connection. And this helps to maximize mechanical tension. You could also use isometric pauses at the fully lengthened range, allowing for a bit of a stretch. This helps increase mechanical tension while possibly creating small microtraumas, thus possibly increasing mechanical damage as well. And finally, by simply using an X to denote the concentric portion, the trainee will then perform the concentric portion of the rep with maximum velocity in mind. This works by utilizing motor unit recruitment to create maximum acceleration of the concentric portion of the rep, thus maximizing mechanical tension.